Welcome back. My next guest is Edna Trunzo. Edna Trunzo is an East Hampton resident who has found ways to stay motivated during her own career. She is now an inspirational speaker. Edna, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Christy?
Good.
Nice to be here.
You too. I'm glad to have you. So you've had quite a few jobs over the course of your career.
Yes.
Could you list them all? I thought it was pretty...
Yes. Well, by trade, I'm a hairdresser, and I've worked in a couple local garden centers. I've worked as a freelance photographer. I've worked in a library. I've applied for several other jobs, all for the pure need of trying to keep my home, because I was in foreclosure and I was in the midst of getting my loan modified, and I needed an income. I needed a steady income. And I was walking down Main Street, Sag Harbor, one day, wondering what's to come of me, looking for a job after I'd applied for several places. And it just came to me that perhaps I could walk into this local salon and ask if they needed a hairdresser. And sure enough, they did. And it was Christmas time, so I was very glad, because this is off-season for us, as you know. Summer is usually the best time to get a job. And I just felt very, very blessed and very guided that this job saved me, because I needed to have a paycheck, something that said I was steadily employed, so that I can get this loan modified.
So Edna, you would have never thought to just walk into someplace. You were calling and sending resumes all around town at that point. And all of a sudden you just thought, you know what, let me show my face? Is that
Yes.
the way it happened?
Yes, it was just a very spontaneous thing. I didn't even know that salon was there. I was walking down the street and I saw it had a stand outside, and I said, you know, let me just go in and see what they may have. And
I would think that someone, as a hairdresser, people would want to see how personable you are and how friendly you are, and that might be a wonderful thing to advise people on how to, you know, get the job if they're in a social situation like that. You've also mentioned that you've had an experience on the fuel assistant line out here in the Hamptons, where
Yes.
you normally wouldn't expect people to be needy in the Hamptons. But what was that experience like?
well, it made me very sad to see that there's so many of us that are in the dire financial straits, and I never thought that I would be one of them. I always considered myself a middle-class person that always made it in life, but I had to go. I was absolutely financially desperate, and somebody suggested I go to social services and get fuel assistance. And I did go there, and I was very glad to have that there for me. But it was very heart-wrenching to be standing online and realizing that, you know, I am not financially making it right now for the first time in my life. It's really hard.
I'm sorry. You mentioned that a large part of it is that you feel alone when you're in that search and when you're on that line and when you're digging through your resumes. And can you talk about that?
I have to, because that's the first time I've ever been in a place like that financially, where I need a job, I need a steady income. I am by myself. I do not have someone else there supporting me, you know, as I have once in the past. I'd always had a team effort. This time I'm flying my own wings. And I just felt like, geez, I feel like I'm all by myself in this struggle of trying to find a job. And there's no job availability. Every door's been shut in my face, you know. But I stop and I remind myself that, you know, there's a bigger picture here that in my own physical life on earth I'm not thinking about, but I am indeed, like all of us, are being taken care of in an unseen way, and remind myself to have that faith in the unseen. And sure enough, that day came. I was wandering down that main street, and I'm like, what is going to happen? And all of a sudden, it kind of went, you go in there, you ask for that job. And it happened for me.
And if you hadn't had those job search experiences, you couldn't be talking with us right now.
Correct.
What message would you like to tell that job searcher who is in your situation right now?
You hang in there. Don't ever give up your dreams, your thoughts of being successful, because it does happen. We might get impatient, but it does happen. Just got to keep that faith, because the way things happen here on earth is because of something that is unseen. It's kind of like doing the paperwork, and then after the paperwork is done, it comes to life. It becomes a reality. And that's the hard part, because it's the middle part. Paperwork takes a long time, always longer than we want. But when the final result gets here, we're like really glad we hung in there. We're really glad we didn't give up, and we're digging our heels in, and we know that we're going to get to the other side. It's an exercise. For me, it had to become a lifestyle. I had to do a lot of affirmations. I had to do a lot of practicing, a lot of believing that, hey, I don't believe that this is going to happen, but somehow I'd say, Edna, you have to believe that. You can't see it, but it's like a seed. You put it in the ground, you can't see it. But then it comes up. You got to nurture it. You got to say, yes, I can. I can do this. There's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat as me. I might not feel it. I might feel all alone, but I remind myself that, hey, there's people out there struggling, looking for jobs, waiting and hoping, and that's what they have to continue to do.
To keep that faith.
Wait and hope, even though sometimes you don't want to.
And you mentioned that you've made it a whole lifestyle choice.
Yes.
Could you go into what that means?
That means always looking on the brighter side of life and challenging myself to do that, because it's easy for me to get into the vacuum of negativity. Oh, this is not going to happen, never going to do it, not up for it, don't have the means. Not true. And I say to myself, Edna, you know that is not true. You know you can do this. You have friends there to help you. You have people that love you. They want to see you succeed. And that is always that higher intelligence that we very much don't pay attention to, but still always pays attention to us. There's a good plan.
It must be hard to have people trying to help you. It must be a little bit humbling.
It is, indeed. It really, because again, I've always found that in my past, been able to help myself. Always somehow had my steady job and could do it. But now it's not that way. And in humbling myself, I'm so glad that I did. Because yeah, help is there. All you have to do is ask, but you got to get past your pride and say, hey, you know what? I need help. I need financial help. I'm going to ask somebody if they have some ideas. If they have some opportunities for me, I will do it. And that's the other thing. You got to do what you have to do, even though you don't feel like it, even though you don't think you have it in you to do it. You do.
You also found ways to stay spiritually strong. You're talking to people who might have screaming families, you know, screaming children, screaming husbands, screaming wives, people knocking on the door, phones ringing, bill collectors. And you found a way to stay focused on keeping that faith.
Yes.
How did you do that?
Well, again, it was a practice. It is a practice like anything else. If you keep practicing, you'll get good at it. You master it. And that's what I have done. I do a lot of affirmations. I look inside. I go from my quiet place. I make sure in my mind that I know after I've had a huge weekend or a dire day, like a really stressful day, during that day, I will go to the bathroom. I'll take a deep breath. I'll say it's okay. I make sure I get myself recentered. I make sure that I remind myself to keep this in perspective. I will not let the outside overwhelm me. So, and I practice that a lot.
That's great. And you also check in with your spiritual beliefs, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that can be a touchy subject, and it's very diverse for everyone. It's different for everyone. For me, it's always the higher power, and I always check in with that. I say, heavens above, tell me, is this okay for me to do? It's that simple. You will get an answer. You will. And if you don't, then it's okay to step ahead and say, okay, I'm going to do this or not. It's very important to check in with your inner voice.
You also mentioned how doing good deeds might help you. How?
Well, I found when I'm helping someone, it helps me to feel good about me. If I've opened a door for someone, given them a smile, and they smile back, I know that I somehow, in some small way, have helped that person. And it helps me, and it triggers something in me. It inspires me to say, geez, you know, if I can make that person smile, maybe I can make that person smile. And then in turn, it comes back to me, you know, and then they want to help me too. Sometimes I don't even have to ask. It's like, you know, geez, Ed, I saw you doing that the other day, and let me give you a hand. Okay, geez, that's great. So it's that one hand washes the other.
It makes scientific sense too, because when you do that good deed, pleasure hormones are released in your own mind. People witnessing you also experience that sense of trust of you.
Yes.
So it creates a very nice environment. If, you know, even if you're completely down and out, there's probably always something you can do to help someone else.
Absolutely.
And you like to gather people over food and lunch.
Yes, I do. It's, I did a little fundraiser for myself this past spring because, as you know, I'm going to school. And I gathered a few of my friends over, and I served a nice little light lunch, and we had just a discussion on some topics that we were interested in talking about, and it really was a good icebreaker and helped us comfort each other in the way of questions that we had, you know, about death and loneliness and things like that, and really gave all of us each other strength to get through the next day, even the next moment.
What a great idea. So you made lunch for your friends.
Well, I think food is a very comforting thing, and it puts people at ease. It helps them let their guard down. It helps them to open. And in opening, you can start to heal whatever's blocked in there because you're talking about it, you're releasing it.
We don't have too much time left, but I know you wanted to show us, you wanted to share something special with us and leave us with a wonderful thought.
Yes, I did.
So.
And that is, always remember to hug yourself. Go like this. Embrace your person. Take a minute, wherever you are, and say, I am loved.
I am loved.
I am loved. And you are.
That's beautiful, Edna. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This has been On Your Watch, and I just want to say, keep the faith out there. Also, our website, onyourwatch.com, has been getting some activity. People have been sending their job listings to On Your Watch. So if you would like to tweet your job listings, it's #OnYourWatch, and also you can email in job listings, and how a person can apply and sparkle for the position should be included in the description. So onyourwatch.com. Thank you very much. I'm Christine Giordano, and it's been such a pleasure to have you and Edna today.
Thank you. Thank you.